Hello, everybody. Welcome to yet another episode of the Voicetrax EEC or Educational Email Course. I'm Vicky here with my partner.
Chuck, hello everyone.
There you go. And we are delighted to be back again with you. The subject of today's episode is going to be what it really takes to become competitive. You might have heard that word a lot, competitive. You have to be competitive. Well, if you're not involved in the industry, what the heck does that mean? We're going to show you some examples. We're very excited to do that. Chuck is going to show you some examples of what competitive really means. But first, I want to talk to you about the truth. And we're very dedicated to being very straightforward and honest and always telling you the truth. We do not sugarcoat things around here. We do not. We braise things. No, I'm kidding. We don't sugarcoat them. And so, in a very straightforward way, the part many voiceover schools will not tell you is one, voiceover is competitive. You have to be skilled. You can't it's not something you just can go out and kind of learn on the job. You need to have some level of skill before you start. Right, Chuck?
Oh my God, there are people online right now talking about how you can get into it without any experience. It just sets my teeth on edge.
Yeah, those are the people that are just out for your money.
Mm,
They're just looking to make a buck.
right.
Here's 3 classes and we'll make your demo. And it's a
Yeah.
$5,000 package. That's just somebody who wants your money because nobody's ready in 3 classes. So you have to build your skills. It's just like, you wouldn't want a surgeon or neurosurgeon that hadn't finished medical school. And I know that voiceover is not brain surgery, but it's something where you need a certain level of skill just to enter the fray. Okay. But there's different levels of entering the fray. So you don't have to be like the most competitive professional sounding voice actor ever to start auditioning. But to get an agent, to make a demo, yes, you have to build your skills. You also have to challenge yourself out of your comfort zone. No one trick ponies. There are some, but it's like 0.0000001%.
Right.
Don LaFontaine was probably a one trick pony, but he
Mm,
was $1 million one trick pony. And Don LaFontaine, of course, Chuck, was the
movie trailer
trailer
guy.
voice.
Yeah.
And what was his phrase?
All those in a world gone insane jokes. They
Yeah.
they originate with that guy, Don LaFontaine. Yeah.
But he's a unicorn. To make voiceover a career, whether it's part-time or full-time, you need to be full of range, variety, and have an abundance of different types of skills. So no one trick ponies here. So you have to get out of your comfort zone. You have to. But the thing is, once you get out of your comfort zone and you realize the world doesn't stop revolving when you do something that's a bit scary or intimidating, it's a little bit easier to go back. I always say, Chuck, you can grow or you can be comfortable,
Hmm.
but you can't do both.
Nope.
And you have to be coachable. You have to be able to take feedback on a professional level and not take it personally. There is a big difference between critique and judgment. Our teachers will critique your performance. We never judge. There's no judging. It's critiquing just to make it a better performance.
Hmm.
And here's what we know after nearly 40 years in this business. With consistent training and honest feedback, you can reach a competitive level no matter where you start. We've had people walk in here with zero acting, performance, nothing creative they've done in their life, and they've become successful voice actors. It's about learning your skills, repeating, practice, 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 practice. Okay, so Chuck, I'd love to play a demo and show them where the competitive bar starts. And I
Okay.
want to just say that these are all demos that were made here at Voicetrax. You engineered all of these
Yeah.
demos.
Yeah.
And so you can explain who they are and what kind of demo it is.
Okay. So first off, we have a commercial minute, and this is the currency that most agents like to use. They like demos around a minute long. Although we produce full demos that are 2 minutes long and help really show a little bit more range. You're not going to hear that be a big problem with our first demo here. Megan Ratto, who managed to cram quite a bit into a little over 60 seconds.
We're bringing you non-stop Scooby-Doo movies and your favorite episodes of Craig of the Creek for a weekend too mysterious to miss. Starts January 14th at 11 on your Cartoon Network. You love your apartment, but without Allstate Renters Insurance, it can be a terrifying place for your stuff. A burglar could snatch your laptop. Hey, Dark Roast drinkers. It's Duncan, the place you didn't think was for you. Well, meet the darkest, roastiest side we've ever had. Duncan Midnight. When someone is diagnosed with cancer, they need support. Subaru and our retailers are there to help by providing blankets for comfort and warmth and encouraging messages of hope. Once you meet with a TurboTax expert who will do your taxes for you, you're free to do not taxes. This is a butter cookie wrapped around Haagen-Dazs. This is luxury. Enjoy it here or wherever you are. Butter cookie wrapped Haagen-Dazs.
And one of the unique things about Megan is that she trained entirely online. I think,
even though she lives in the East Bay. She lives in the East Bay, but traffic and timing made it hard for her to get here on time for classes. So she did everything online.
Yeah, she did everything online. I believe the first time she stepped foot in our Sausalito location was to do that demo.
And Chuck, let's touch a little bit upon the fact that when you're trying to get signed with a talent agency, they want to hear a commercial demo. That's how you get signed. Now you might get into voiceover because you want to be a narrator or do animation or video games, and you'll get that with your talent agent. But to get in the door, they want to hear your commercial demo. And is that just because commercial is the most profitable, has the most opportunities, and so of course they want you to be good at that?
That's right.
At the very least.
Yep.
Okay, great.
Yeah, you need a strong commercial core, and then once you have that developed, and that's really commercials. Commercials can be easy to act; they can be pretty damn difficult. And once you've worked a good core set of skills for commercials, that enables you often to branch out into things like characters and our next genre here, which would be narration.
Water has been fundamental in the development of every species on Earth and has shaped our own existence as human beings. Our well-being, our future, and our lives depend on it. The blow has cracked the mother Tyrannosaurus's femur and ruptured internal organs. She limps away in agony. That night, the usual evening chorus is joined by the whimper of a dying giant. Identity theft. Over 60 million victims in the last 5 years. Almost 17 million in the last year alone, at an annual cost to the victims of about $25 billion. What do we create here at Samsung? We don't make electronics. We don't make appliances. What we wake up for, what we invent, produce, manufacture, research, and create is wonder. For General George Washington, those 6 years must have seemed like forever. He had lost more battles than he had won. He had been second-guessed by Congress, ridiculed by enemy commanders, and criticized by his own officers.
I always get a little emotional on that one here. I think it's quite impressive, the capacity that Scott has to put a tear in your eye about the greatest killer the world has ever seen. But anyway.
Yeah, and by the way, that's Voicetrax alumni Scott Kessler. And still a lot of range, but in a little bit more of a narrow scope. Narration doesn't provide you with as much opportunity to just break open the doors and do something big and bold. It's a little bit more contained and controlled, but still so much variety. And Scott's such a great storyteller. Even though I've heard that demo so many times, at the end, I'm always like, oh, crap, it's ended. I was just waiting for the next part of the story because he's such a mesmerizing storyteller. So that's amazing. Okay, so what do we have left?
We have Julie Hancock here and her character demo.
May I have your attention, please? You are about to witness something that you will never forget.
I am about to launch this chicken into outer space!
Manners are very important, young Mr. Springsteen. Manners and etiquette are the way we introduce order into our society.
Okay, we need to find a way around this mess, and we need to pick up the pace if we're gonna have any chance of reaching the temples before they do.
I've hidden 500 chocolate bars in this tree. They're more delicious when they're secret.
Personal encrypted log 9/12/2037. Alex is pushing and testing the limits of our extraction process hard.
Know the first thing I'm gonna do when I get hands? Chew my fingernails?
Oh, I'm so happy you decided to populate the field with 3-year-old flower girls from a Kansas wedding instead of an actual defensive line!
That last part. I also like the sly little joke that they slide in there when she's doing the school marm, the teacher. Do you think any kid, any kid she's referring to as Mr. Springsteen actually gave her his real name?
Yeah, no,
That's a funny
not at
little
all.
part there. Yeah.
Well, and I always like to point out that it's the element that was in the middle of that demo when she was talking about personal encrypted log, I think it was 9.
Yes.
That's actually Julie's voice. The rest of that was all acting and different voices. And when we say character demo, we add animation and video games all together into a character demo.
Yeah.
So, you guys, that's where the bar starts for agency representation. Although there are other ways to get auditions, online casting and such, and we do talk about that in our beginning seminar to give you a little bit more feedback and information on that ability to audition online before you get an agent. It's an opportunity and it's a whole world that's really blossomed over the last decade. That really wasn't there. When I started training, it wasn't there. You had to be good enough to get an agent. I never get tired of listening to those demos, Chuck. They're all so different. The acting is outstanding. We know the personal stories behind all 3 of those actors. So it's really inspiring to listen to. So Chuck, the next question I want to ask you about becoming competitive is how our Voicetrax mentoring process accelerates that program. What do you think is unique about what we do that accelerates a person's ability to become a competitive voice actor?
Well, each of us is an individual. Each of us is distinct from one another. And one of the most crucial things about voice acting is finding the best you can be. And this is not accomplished through packages. Okay, what we do twice a year after the first one you get in the beginning seminar is give you a guidance form with very specific recommendations on the classes for you to take next, based on what you did in that beginning seminar, and then based on your progress, which we watch closely as you move from one class to the next. And we feel that is really much the better way to approach it, because not every cookie fits the cutter.
Yeah, people learn it different. Some people are more audio driven, some people are more visually driven. People absorb information at different paces. Some people have a 60-hour-a-week job and some people it runs the gamut. So to try to put 12 individuals into a cookie cutter program and say everybody's going to learn at the same pace and the same level is, I think, being naive. You have to take the time to be individual with every single one of your students. And when I write those guidance forms, not only am I writing about what I've worked with them, but I do reach out to different teachers and get report cards back. And so it really is a collective piece of feedback, and then very stylized. We like to say no 2 guidance forms are the same. Because the class suggestions are really customized for you. The next thing I want to talk about, Chuck, is the difference between improving and becoming bookable. I mean, there is improvement. I think when people hear a lot of great feedback in class and you're improving, they mistake that for, oh, you're ready to start auditioning. We always will tell our students, we think it's time to start thinking about a demo, or we like to create a demo timeline. So we have something to work towards so the student knows, okay, like in 6 months or 12 months or whatever it is, it's demo time. So I've really got to be specific about what I do and how disciplined I am in my training. But again, you might receive fantastic feedback from your teacher. And first, congratulations for doing something great and getting great feedback. I still take classes. We all still take classes, and the 3 owners, and I still love getting good feedback. I always want to make the teacher happy.
Yeah.
But remember, in class, you were directed by your teacher who's a professional. And when you're auditioning, whether you're auditioning online, through the online casting sites, or even through your talent agency, you're left to your own devices. You do not get directed. So one of the biggest challenges in voiceover, it's not becoming a competitive actor, which I think a lot of people think. So let's bust that myth right there. You can become a competitive actor in a shorter amount of time. But the big challenge, the last challenge we want to help students overcome is self-direction. It's probably 2 of the most intimidating, nasty, and yet so relevant and completely critical to success. Those 2 words in voiceover is self-direction. Everything we do, we self-direct and then send it in. And a lot of times, like Chuck has said in other episodes, you don't get a lot of feedback. It just goes into the ether. And the only reason you know it's good is if you get booked. So we want to make sure that we clarify, you're improving, you're doing great. That was so great in class, versus you being able to get that result on your own. And it's doable. It's completely doable. But I see a lot of our students, that's like the final roadblock to really becoming competitive. You've become a competitive actor. You're even really good at script analysis. But listening back to your performances and knowing, is it good, submit it, or no, I need to work on it. That's like the last challenge, the last element in the gauntlet to really get you to be a competitive voice actor. Okay, so let's go to the action step. So what I'd love for you to do is, remember I asked you in the second episode, I have my notes here, write down what you think your biggest performance challenge is: confidence, sounding natural, overthinking. So I told you to put those away and we would address them in a future episode. Well, here we are. And so what I want you to do is revisit the challenge you wrote down on day 2, or the challenge is, what's changed? Has anything changed? What awareness have you gained? And to write this down and to see it in your own handwriting, in your own words, this is how your growth begins. Okay, well, great. So if you have any questions or are interested in starting your voiceover adventure, feel free to contact us through the information on the screen. And Chuck, thank you again
Your thing.
for being my partner in crime. Awesome.
Yep.
Okay, we'll see you guys later.